This is the AI Executive Brief, and I'm Stephen Forte. The tools are here, what you can build this week. Today, we'll talk about 3 platforms that just shipped features, letting non-technical people do things that required engineers last month, and exactly how to use them Monday morning. Let me paint you a picture. Last year at this time, if you wanted to build a custom web application for your business, you needed a developer. If you wanted AI to work with your local files, you needed an IT team to set up secure integrations. If you wanted professional marketing images, you needed a designer or a prompt engineer who spoke fluent Midjourney. That was last year. This week, 3 major platforms, Google, Anthropic, and xAI, all shipped features that collapse those barriers. Not in theory, not coming soon, shipped and available right now. Story 1. Google just turned plain English into working applications. On March 19th, Google announced a major update to Google AI Studio, integrating it directly with Firebase. That's Google's platform for building web and mobile apps. The headline feature is something they're calling Vibe Coding, powered by Gemini 3.1 Pro. Here's what it actually does. You type a sentence describing what you want, and it builds you a complete working application with a database and user authentication. Let me be specific about what I mean by complete. You type something like, create a startup name generator app where users can log in and save their favorites. The system writes the front-end code, that's the part users see, in React, Angular, or Next.js. It automatically detects you need a backend, that's the database and server stuff, sets up Firestore, which is Google's cloud database, and configures Firebase authentication so users can actually log in. Then it gives you a live preview. One click deploys it to the web. The pricing makes this accessible. Google AI Studio is free to use. The Firebase integration uses the free tier for the database and authentication. You only pay if your app scales significantly, and we're talking thousands of users. Now, let's be clear about limitations. The AI-generated code can have bugs. This isn't for building your next enterprise platform, but for internal tools and prototypes, game changer. Here's what this means for you on Monday morning. Pick one internal process that's currently managed in spreadsheets or email. Maybe it's tracking sales leads, collecting employee feedback, or managing equipment requests. Have someone on your team, not a developer, just someone who can describe what they want clearly. Spend an hour in Google AI Studio building a simple web app for it. The ROI calculation is straightforward. If it saves your team 2 hours a week, that's 100 hours a year. At typical knowledge worker rates, that's $10,000 to $20,000 in productivity per simple app. And you can build it in an afternoon. Story 2. Anthropic's Claude can now work while you're at dinner. On March 20th, Anthropic launched Claude Dispatch, a new feature within their co-work environment. Here's the concept. Your AI assistant is no longer trapped in a browser tab on your laptop. It's now a remote-controlled employee you can manage from your phone. The setup is simple. You pair your phone with your Mac using a QR code, and that's one of those square barcodes you scan. Once paired, you can text Claude commands from anywhere, and it executes them on your desktop computer. Because it's running locally on your Mac, it has access to your files and connected apps like Notion or Google Drive without uploading everything to the cloud. Think of it as a sandboxed environment. That means Claude can work with your stuff but can't mess up your system or access things you haven't explicitly allowed. This is currently a research preview for Claude Max subscribers, and it requires a Mac that's awake and running the Claude app. Early reviews say it's rough around the edges. It succeeds about 50% of the time on complex tasks. It struggles with opening native Mac apps. But for information retrieval and summarization, it works well enough to be useful today. Here's your Monday morning move. If you're a Claude Max subscriber, set up Dispatch this week. Then try this specific use case. While you're commuting Tuesday morning, text Claude to search your recent emails and Slack messages and draft a briefing document for your first meeting. Or have it run a competitor audit using the web and save the report to your project folder. Or ask it to create a presentation summarizing last quarter's sales data from your Google Drive. The point isn't perfection. It's that your AI assistant can now work your files while you're not at your desk. That's a capability that didn't exist last week. Story 3, xAI just made everyone a graphic designer. On March 18th, xAI launched image templates for Grok Imagine, powered by their new Aurora model. Elon Musk called it super easy to use. And for once, the hype matches reality. Instead of writing complex 50-word prompts to get the lighting and style right, you select a template, product photography, cyber garage, comic book, and type a simple subject. The Aurora model handles the stylistic heavy lifting. This requires an X Premium or Super Grok subscription at $30 a month. The API cost is 2 cents per image. Users report that Grok and Aurora excel at clean, photorealistic, and sleek 3D rendered images, while Midjourney leans more artistic and moody. For business use, Grok's aesthetic is probably what you want. Here's the immediate business application. Have your marketing team block 90 minutes Monday afternoon. Using the product photography template, generate a dozen visual concepts for your next campaign. Using the Cyber Garage template, create a week's worth of visually consistent images for your social media. Have team leads use templates to create custom illustrations for internal presentations instead of generic stock photos. At 2 cents per image, you can generate 100 options for $2. That's less than you'd pay for a single stock photo, and these are custom to your exact needs. The tactical move here is to designate one person on your marketing team as the Grok Image lead this week. Have them master 3 to 4 templates that match your brand aesthetic. Then institutionalize it. Every presentation, every social post, every internal communication can now have custom professional imagery. That's not just about looking good. It's about communicating more effectively. So let's connect these 3 stories. What shipped this week isn't more AI announcements or coming soon features. It's tools you can use Monday morning. Google lets you build custom apps without coding. Anthropic lets your AI work your files while you're away from your desk. XAI lets you generate professional imagery without design skills. The pattern here matters more than any individual tool. The barrier to building with AI didn't just get lower, it effectively disappeared for a whole class of business problems. Internal tools that would have required a developer last month can be built by an operations manager this afternoon. Design work that required a contractor last quarter can be done by your marketing coordinator before lunch. Data analysis that required you at your desk can happen while you're at your kid's soccer game. None of these tools are perfect. The Google-generated code will have bugs. Claude Dispatch will fail half the time on complex tasks. Grok Images will sometimes miss the mark. But here's the thing. Imperfect tools that exist beat perfect tools that don't, and the economics are impossible to ignore. These tools cost between free and $30 a month. The productivity gains are measured in hours per week. My suggestion, pick one of these 3 tools and commit to trying it Monday, not researching it, not having a meeting about it, actually using it to solve a real problem in your business. If you're drowning in spreadsheets, try Google AI Studio. If you're constantly playing catch up on information, set up Claude Dispatch. If your presentations look like everyone else's, master Grok's Image Templates. The companies that win in the next 18 months won't be the ones waiting for perfect AI. They'll be the ones who figured out how to use good enough AI to solve real problems this week. The tools are here, the barriers are down. The only question is whether you'll be building with them Monday morning or still talking about them in your next board meeting. That's the AI Executive Brief for Friday, March 20th, 2026. I'm Stephen Forte. If this hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, stay sharp.